Hey guys, I'm Jacob at Classic Garage, and I've been down to Brooklyn today for the Emergency Services Day and taken this, our 1996 Ford Transit Turbo ambulance, originally from the county of Essex. I thought I'd give you a quick tour of it.
Now before we start, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Lawrie Phillipson from the Essex Air Ambulance Trust. He drove this very ambulance when it was new, and they very kindly put me in touch. I went down there for the day and he showed me around it and gave me some incredible insight which helped me make this video. Now let's get on with it.
Okay, so I think the easiest way to do this is to lose the sunglasses, and I'm going to put this GoPro on my head and give you a tour first person. How about that, hey? Seamless. Okay, so welcome. Let's get in. 1996 Ford Transit 2.5 turbo, smiley, and the cab is pretty much standard of that era, but being an ambulance we of course have a few extras. So if we start down here, this lamp will light up to let you know if the tail is down. Now we have got lowering suspension on the back for the sake of getting a stretcher in and out, and that light will illuminate to let you know if you've left it down. We have length, width and height. This plate is pretty useful. Car parks, low bridges, barriers, it's useful to have. We have our fuel capacity over here, and then on this side we have mind your head, and thankfully this piece of felt padding here just in case you do decide to whack it. We have our map light up here. This is obviously in the days before GPS and sat-nav. However, Essex Ambulance was one of the first to introduce a kind of mapping system that found the nearest resource to a job, which obviously ambulance services take for granted nowadays. Down here, no one knows what this does. If you ever served or as a paramedic or ambulance driver in the 90s and you drove a transit, tell me what this is for, because no one seems to know or remember. Maybe it's not that important. Same again with this. Think this is like a override. If you have a flat battery, and it will almost isolate any other power to allow you the better chance of trying to get the vehicle started. It's got like a kind of electric bolt for a triangle. We have a manual clock. I love a manual clock in a vehicle. Our radio. Now I was told by a paramedic that used to drive this very vehicle, these were bought from the gas board in bulk when they were finished with them, and were fitted by the crews basically, and they would have used channels 2 or 5 I think it was. So that's our receiver, and yeah, our radio, a PE MX290. Here we have all our lights, which I'm going to show you later in the video, so stick around for that. Everything here is pretty standard. The steering wheel is fairly worn, and I do have a new one to go on it. However, if you look here, cam belt due 316,000 miles. Now this is done 291, and if we go behind the seat, we can see here that the next service is due at 298,000, and that this was still being used up until 2005 with the ambulance service, so around 10 years of service. I think nowadays you might get about 5 to 7 out of an ambulance, I think. So yeah, times have definitely changed somewhat. Now I'm going to go to the back of the vehicle and show you in there. So if we jump in, we're going to get some very strange looks from any passing vehicles, but I can see them. Hey, right, so blinds in the back, privacy blinds. We're missing this side. If anyone has one, it's called a Ocean Air. Please let me know. This bracket here would have had a search lamp on, or spot lamp, which plugs in up here. These are sort of like old school, it's a bit strange, but basically a 12-volt socket. So if you had the rear doors open at the scene of an accident, you could light up the scene. We have our suspension here, which I'll show you in a moment. And then this is the humble abode. So we have our 3 seats, all with seat belts, all swivel and kind of move. This would be our main one for the paramedic themselves. And I'll show you in a minute the bonnet of this. This was around the time where paramedics were starting to become quite a sort of common thing in the UK. Before that, you may have just had an ambulance man, as it was known, but this is one of the first to have a paramedic on board most of the time. So they would sit here, and that would be your view. Now you can see we've got the interior lights on as well, and they are controlled by here. So we have our, oh, there we go. That's better, isn't it? I've missed that switch. Right, all our interior lights, and then we have our diesel heater as well, which does work. And that comes out here through that vent. And then we have some additional sockets here, and you can also wire additional accessories. So that's your negative or earth and live for a 12-volt accessory. We should have a clock here for the old time of death, or time of arrival even, or time of birth, which I've ordered. I found one, just waiting to hang that on here. We have our ECG machine here, which I'm told is wrong, but it's in place. It looks the part. We have our suction kit. Now, you see that there? Which one is it? One of the two of these here is what's used for suction. So I think it's this one. So from your lungs, and it would, this is upside down, but it would fill up into here. Now, I was told that these used to get washed up back at base with everyone's tea and coffee mugs in a sink. Lovely, lovely. Times have definitely changed. Obviously, we have a lot of infection control and bits like that in the NHS now. We have our oxygen masks here and our oxygen level and tap on and off. And if you follow the white pipe, it goes all the way here, all the way along, all the way down. And in here would sit your oxygen canister. I'm told it's a K canister, I think, or KO shape canister, which you can't get anymore, would sit in there, be held in, and then oxygen is plumbed into the vehicle. Down here we have this cabinet, which has my GoPro stuff in it at the moment. So that would be for, I think I was told, certain medicines. We have a lockable cabinet here, the keys in the ignition, but this would be for controlled drugs. And then down here you would have toolboxes basically with kit that would slide in and be held into place. And I was told that that has since been replaced, obviously, but even at the time, shortly after the vehicle came into service, was replaced with kit bags, and they would just be put down here or put here and grabbed when you get out. You'll notice that this ambulance hasn't got a side sliding door like we all have now. So it's a bit strange. You can come through here, which definitely doesn't happen anymore for health and safety. If you think I'm sat here, we're going 60 miles an hour, we brake, I'm going through the windscreen. So this has been scrapped, and I believe now ambulances just have a small window. What else have we got? We have our scoop up here, which needs a new strap to hold it into place. And you'll see these metal rails. These are to slide like IV drips on. So you can slide it in here, it'd hang there and down to the patient, which brings us on to the stretcher. So I would love, if there's any companies out there that do like crime scene cleaning, get in touch, let's do a video and let's see what is in this ambulance. Because this could do with a proper clean, but I'd love to do a video where we swab everything and see what bodily fluids or bits like that are in here. What else have we got? We have all our lockers up here. So that's why these ambulances are normally ideal camper conversions, because they have everything. We have cupboards here, we have cupboards here. These are huge because they are the box on top of the cab. So they're quite deep, all carpeted, soundproofed. We've got vents, we've got a pop hatch up here. We would have had an early form of defibrillator, I believe, here. So you can unpin it, rotate it, the machine's strapped in, your patient's there. So that's pretty cool as well. And then even down here, again, on the camper side of stuff, these lift up. We've got storage in here. And then we have there we go. We have a few bits of kit here. So Peacemaker, which is your gas and air. And we have a new pack. Now, I spoke to someone who said these were never really used at the time. If you ever used one, feel free to comment below. Tell me how they work. It looks like you need to plug part of it in. This is like a transformer, I believe. And you have a tank. So if you ever used a new pack, please let me know. They were made in Luton, and this was last serviced in 2004, and fitted in, oh no, it's meant to be serviced again in there you go, April 2005. What else have we got? Obviously, like I said, our stretcher, which, I can show you. Let's jump out a second. And let's pop that door back. And let's open that door up. Yes, the piece de resistance. So we lift that up, we lower that, and we have our steps into the ambulance. Nowadays you have a tail lift on some, but then the newer box ambulances, the lightweight ones, don't. They've gone back to this. So I will pop the camera over here and I'm going to show you the suspension. I'm not saying that used a lot of power, but all the lights inside went out, so I'm going to whack the ignition back on and show you a few other bits. Okay, so the ignition's back on. Let's pop this away. Obviously that stretcher, as you push it up to here, you pull a lever, the legs collapse, it slides in, it goes over here, you lock it in place, nice and easy. And I'll show you a few bits on the outside. So here, UVG, Universal Vehicle Group, I believe, who built these. I'm going to come inside because I've not got a mic and it's windy. I've seen on Facebook people have called it uncomfortable, vulgar, gutless, UVG. So if you did drive one and you agree, let me know in the comments. A few other bits in the cab. So we have space behind both seats for helmets, torch. You've got your hook there for your high vis. Huge glove box, to be fair, and quite a big space down here as well. And do you know what? You see these? You see these here? If we whack these on, ready? Let's go have a look. Hopefully this comes up on camera. The lights are shocking. So we have our two in the grill here, and we have our two up here, but they are awful. That's it. Just a flash. They're not. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Is it cool or are they awful? And I don't know why this has started beeping, but I'll put the camera outside for this one. If you subscribe within the next 10 seconds, I'll whack the siren and lights on, okay? You ready? Did you subscribe? Right, last few bits and then I'll wrap up this video. Okay, so for those of you who are geeks and interested more in the vehicle itself, Ford Transit, I would say that's a medium wheelbase, twin wheel, 3.5 ton, the suspension as I've shown. So I mentioned the bonnet, Paramedic. Now all ambulances just say ambulance, and like I said at the time, it was sort of a big deal to have an actual paramedic on board. I can't remember the guy's name. There was someone who travelled abroad, learnt about it and brought it back to the UK. I'll try and find that to post it here. But apparently at the time, the ambulance station it was at didn't always have a paramedic available. So this sort of became redundant. What else can we talk about? We have our period correct tax disc, a few of bits here. That part there, that grey bit, I believe is to do with the tracking I mentioned. I'll drop the video in here. It's from an episode of 999, I think. And then up here, obviously, we have our two aerials for the radio.
Ambulance, please. I need an ambulance now.
This is an ordinary looking phone box, but if this was a real emergency, it would set in motion a chain of events that could change the face of ambulance control rooms as we know them. And this is where it's all happening, control room of the Essex Ambulance Service. Here they're using the very latest technology to respond to the hundreds of emergency calls they get every day. If you dial 999 from one of the 3,000 telephone boxes across Essex, this computer will know where you are and will be able to find you on its screens.
You think ain't gonna fit you, sorry.
The moment the telephone number of the phone box is typed into the computer, it automatically registers the location, which then appears on a computerized map as a pink diamond.
Well, the most important piece of information we need is exactly where the caller wants the ambulance to come to. Many of our callers are distressed and sometimes ring for an ambulance and then hang up before giving us a precise location. But this system actually helps us to pinpoint the location.
The computer database can also identify 250,000 domestic addresses throughout the region. OK, so we know where the emergency is, but what about the ambulance? This is where 24 satellites orbiting thousands of kilometres above Essex come into play. On the roof of this vehicle is a tiny satellite receiver which continually transmits the location of this and all the other ambulances in Essex back to the control room. The ambulances appear on the screen as coloured squares, and for Terry, this makes the job of dispatching the right one much easier.
This is an incident that has just come in. It's a road traffic accident. On the mapping screen, it appears that this vehicle is the nearest. We can confirm that by looking at this screen, and this says that this ambulance is 3 minutes away. That vehicle is now on its way. We'll now follow its progress along the road to the incident.
What else can I talk about? Turbo badge should be here. I think it's nice without. Have you ever seen a turbo badge on an ambulance? You did in the 90s. A diesel filler. I'm assuming this is... No, on the other side there's the exhaust for the diesel heater. So I don't know what that's for, if anyone knows. Twin wheel, like I said. Oh yeah, windows on the side slide about as well. But other than that, you get the little Ford badge on the back, eh? Essex's finest. R sticker, obviously, if you ever spot that. When you're out and about on the road on the back of one of our vehicles, take a picture or say hi. It's on everything we have, so there you go. And if you subscribe. But yeah, there you go. So like I said, originally with Essex, I have spoken to some of the paramedics from the time who have said it may be from Harlow, it may be from Chelmsford, it may be from Wickford, it may be from Woodham Ferrers. People aren't quite sure, but if you drove this, and you'll know if you did, because it was 245. So P245, there was 246, 247 and so on. You will know it by that. But other than that, she's actually quite tidy. I mean, for a 30-year-old Transit, 28-year-old Transit, she's actually really tidy. Obviously most of this is fiberglass, but even underneath she's sound, MOT'd. Yeah, pretty smart. So like I said, been to Brooklyn's 999 day today. I'm going to drop the video below, or next, sorry. There were quite a few spotters there and YouTubers, so I'll try and find some footage to put it up here next. And you should see this hopefully in film and TV in the next few months, because we have a few bookings for it. And before that, it was in one of the Foot Soldier films as well, about the Essex boys. So there you go. That's my review of a 1996 Ford Transit ambulance. You'll probably never see one again, and I don't think there's a single review on YouTube either. So thank you for watching. Catch you next time.